Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soivifa Jackert. Israelis awaited word on how Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would respond to Iran's first ever direct attack as international pressure for restraint grew amid fears of an escalation of the conflict in the Middle East. Netanyahu summoned his war cabinet for the second time in less than 24 hours to weigh a response to Iran's weakened missile and drone attack, a government source said. Military Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi said Israel would respond. He provided no details. This launch of so many missiles, cruise missiles, and drones into Israeli territory will be met with a response, he said at Nevatim Airbase in southern Israel, which sustained some damage in Saturday's night attack. The prospect of Israeli retaliation has alarmed many Iranians already, enduring economic pain and tighter social and political controls since protests in 2022 to 2023. Iran will respond to any action against its interests, President Ibrahim Raisi told Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on Tuesday, according to the Iranian student news agency. Iran launched the attack in retaliation for what it says was an April 1st Israeli airstrike on its embassy compound in Damascus and signaled that it does not seek further escalation. While the attack caused no deaths and limited damage, it has increased fears of open warfare between the long-time foes and fueled concerns that violence rooted in the Gaza war is spreading. US President Joe Biden told Netanyahu at the weekend that the United States, which helps Israel blunt the Iranian attack, will not participate in an Israeli counterstrike. Since the war in Gaza began in October, clashes have erupted between Israel and Iran-aligned group in Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. Israel said 4 of its soldiers were wounded hundreds of meters inside Lebanese territory overnight. It appeared to be the first such known incidents since the Gaza war erupted, although there have been several exchanges of fire between Israel and Lebanon's armed group Hezbollah. Meta Platforms' Mark Zuckerberg won the dismissal of some claims in a dozen lawsuits accusing him of concealing from the public that Facebook and Instagram were harmful to children. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rojas in Oakland, California, came in the sprawling litigation by children pursuing hundreds of lawsuits accusing Meta and other social media companies of addicting them to their platforms. 25 of those cases sought to hold Zuckerberg personally liable, saying Meta's billionaire founder created a false impression about the platform's safety despite repeated warnings they were unfit for children. The plaintiffs argued that his public stature and outsized role as the trusted voice on all things Meta created a duty under several states' law for Zuckerberg to speak fully and truthfully on the risks each product posed to children. But Rogas said the plaintiffs could not rely on Zuckerberg's comparative knowledge about Meta's product to establish a personally owed such a duty to each plaintiff. Such a ruling, she said, would create a duty to disclose for any individual recognizable to the public. The court will not countenance such a novel approach here, she said. Meta, which remains a defendant, declined to comment. The company denies wrongdoing. Hundreds of lawsuits are pending before Rojas filed on behalf of individual children against Meta and other social media companies including Alphabet, Google, which operates Google and YouTube, ByteDance, which operates TikTok and Snapchat. The lawsuits say children suffered physical, mental, and emotional harm from social media use, including anxiety, depression, and even suicide. The litigation seeks damages and a halt to the practices the defendants say are harmful. Several states and school districts have also filed lawsuits against Meta, which remain pending. Japan's Honda Motor plans to launch 6 next-generation electric vehicle (EV) motors branded Ye in China by 2027, the automaker said on Tuesday. It added that it also planned to roll out a total of 10 Honda brand EV models in China by 2027 in the race to ensure EVs make up 100% of its automobile sales in the country by 2035. Japan's second biggest car maker have lagged behind European and US competitors such as General Motors and Volkswagen in ramping up EV sales. And faced with increasing competition from Chinese EV makers, Honda and rival Nissan Motor said last month they were considering a partnership on key components and software. Honda in January unveiled its Honda O Series EVs and 2 concept models at the CES trade show in Las Vegas. Drug regulators in Tanzania, Rwanda, and Zimbabwe have recalled a batch of Johnson & Johnson children cough syrup as a precautionary measure after their Nigerian counterpart said laboratory tests found high level of toxicity. The countries join Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa in recalling the same batch of the syrup, which is used to treat cough, hay fever, and other allergic reactions in children. South Africa has also recalled an additional batch. Laboratory tests on the syrup by Nigerian health regulators showed a high level of ethylene glycol, which has been linked to the deaths of dozens of children in Gambia, Uzbekistan, and Cameroon since 2022 in one of the world's worst waves of poisoning from oral medication. The ethylene glycol is toxic to humans when consumed and can result in acute kidney failure. The batch of Berlin pediatric syrup recalled was made by J&J in South Africa in May 2021, although Kenvue now owns the brand after a spin-off from J&J last year. Tanzania Medicines and Medical Devices Authority (TMDA) said it had begun the recall on April 12 after hearing about the Nigerian test results. A spokesperson for Kenya's drug regulator said its test results on the syrup will likely be ready on Wednesday. A review of our safety database doesn't reveal any adverse event reports, the Rwanda Food and Drug Authority said in a statement dated April 12. However, Rwanda FDA issues the present recall for precautionary measures. Zimbabwe's Medicines Control Agency said that it did not have a record of the product's importation into Zimbabwe, but that it was concerned that the syrup could enter the local market illegally. It said it would step up inspections in case. Telsa's global job cuts include reducing staff in the US and China, the automaker's 2 biggest markets across sales, tech, and engineering. 5 sources briefed on the matter said. CEO Elon Musk on Monday told staff in an internal memo saying that the company is laying off more than 10% of its global workforce as it grapples with falling sales and an intensifying price war for electric vehicles. Several US-based service centers saw heavy layoffs effective immediately, primarily of sales staff and technicians, one source said. Another location said off all fronts of house staff, the source said. A Telsa program manager in California posted a spreadsheet on LinkedIn of over 10 staff, mostly engineers, who had been laid off and were seeking new jobs. 2 sources said members of Telsa's China sales team were being notified they were being made redundant, with one saying more than 10% were losing their jobs. A third source said that in Shanghai, where Telsa's largest plant is located, the company will only lay off a small portion of staff, accounting for several dozen people. Telsa's US headquarters and its China units did not immediately respond to requests for comments. All the sources declined to be named as they were not permitted to speak to media. The Shanghai and Beijing local governments did not immediately respond to requests for comments. Telsa Germany refuted reports in Germany media that 3,000 of car makers, roughly 12,000 staff, had been fired, and said it was evaluating how to implement Musk's order at the plants. Germany union IG Metall on Monday said that Telsa had not informed any or consulted the work council, as it's customary in Germany, prior to emailing all staff. While Germany labor law has strict rules on firing staff, around 1,000 workers at the plant are on temporary contracts, according to a source with knowledge of the matter, leaving them more vulnerable to dismay. Telsa faces increasing competition in China in a fast price war with rivals led by BYD, slowing sales in the United States, as well high investment costs in new models and artificial intelligence. Global vehicles deliveries in the first quarter fell for the first time in nearly 4 years as price cuts failed to stir demand. That is the size of top Accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Tuesday.